Hey everyone, welcome to this week's show. With me is Kyle, the GM of Team Rocket.
Hey guys, how you doing?
And of course, I'm your commissioner and champion, Team Ramrod. Big, I don't know, some big week this week because it's trade deadline. So there's a lot of um, things in motion. We already had some big trades that we're going to talk about. I imagine we're going to have just a flurry of them with Daltrey declaring seller this morning. So it'll give us a lot to talk about next week. It'll be pretty exciting. But this week we do have some interesting results and some good matchups this week. So I guess let's get into this.
Let's do it.
So just to review, you went 4 for 8 last week, and I went 5 for 8.
Oh, you got me.
The difference was that I picked me and you picked Corey. Because other than that,
Yeah.
we were the same.
I'm not making that mistake again this week. I am not picking Corey this week.
He's got you. So last week, as you can see, Team Ramrod Le Champion defeated Sauce Pass 11-3. What happened here?
Uh, Goalie dominance, and you're just championship material. What else is there to say?
I think I summed it up with the picture I showed yesterday. The 3 stars of the week: Matthews, Kachuk, McDavid. Like the NHL 3 stars of the week. So
No kidding. Wow.
yeah. So like it was just a bad week for no matter who lined up against me, really. Offensively, I think my numbers were really strong. So my guys just went off last week. Helped that Hellebuck got a shutout too. Like all my keeper players played like keeper players. Um, yeah, so I took down Corey. It was a good match. Um, Told him after, we'll see you in the playoffs at some point, maybe. We'll see you there. You'll be in the final 8, I imagine. It'd take enough for him to drop out, but it was a good win for Team Ramrod. Tough loss for Sauce Pass. I'll
Yeah,
take that win.
and he might be suffering another tough loss this week.
Who's he playing this week? He's playing you.
This
Oh, you actually want to take him down this week.
I do.
I softened them up for you.
I appreciate that. Maybe it's my turn to have all 3 NHL stars of the week.
Yeah, maybe. Braden's Biatch, 9-4 victory over Paulie the goalie. What happened here?
It's actually a pretty close matchup. The big difference came down to some specialty categories and some grind categories. He took shots on goals, hits, blocks, game-winning goals, power play points. That's what really pushed Braden's Biatch through to the win here. Otherwise, it wasn't a bad week for Sean. He made it a close match, made Travis sweat a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's no surprise here. We both thought that Travis would win. Sean's team just isn't there right now. Obviously he's a seller, so he's not expecting to do some damage against one of the top tier teams. But he made a week of it, which is what you want. You want to be competitive at least, right? Even when you're losing, you don't want to get murdered every week. You just want to at least make them sweat a little bit. So I'll be curious to see what Sean's team looks like next year. Now it's a whole new look for him. But good on Travis getting some easy points here. Keep up in the standings and guarantee himself a playoff visit. Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. I think he passed Corey with that win too.
Yeah, he jumped up to 3rd. So Corey dropped down to 5th.
That's rough. He might be dropping some more this week.
The goalie, NA goalie paradise takes a loss to Sorokin these nuts, 10-4. What happened here?
Player dominance by Neil. Neil took 8 points from the player categories. He just lost blocks and I think it was just blocks really. And he took 1 goalie category, and well, if you take all the player categories, you're gonna
win. Yeah, that's not surprising, right? We know Casey struggles. He's a seller this year. But if you look at the shape his team's in, compared to when he took it over. I think he's done a good job. He's got some good young goalies that he's just waiting to kind of like hit their stride, and I think he'll be a much better threat in the long run, right? But Neil's obviously he's a playoff team every year, so this shouldn't surprise us that Neil's players dominated. Then he went out and picked up a big player yesterday who had a big day too, right? So
Yeah.
we'll talk about that.
Well,
Big
this is
news
kind
for
of
him.
nuts too, because both these guys had two shutouts this week. So like, geez, if you're losing most of the goalie categories and you got two shutouts, that kind of sucks. But I mean, Neil got the win anyway. But it's
Yeah.
kind of interesting to see.
Was it an issue for him because he took
No,
all the player stats pretty much, right? So,
no, that's it, right?
well, good on Neil. Keeps him afloat in the playoff hunt here, and just pretty much ends Casey's misery. Team Rocket pulling off an 8-6 win against Daltry the Beef. I think this directly led to Daltrey being like, I have to sell if I lose to Team Rocket. So,
Yeah,
what happened here?
yeah. Nobody likes to lose Team Rocket, and if you're losing Team Rocket, you're rethinking your life. And that's exactly what we had here. Is I made Daltrey rethink his life. Yeah, it helps. I got three shorthanded points, five game-winning goals. Those are some pretty good numbers. I got a shutout. Uh, you know, uh,
I think
not to
that's
be
five game
ashamed of,
all
but
year.
yeah, exactly, right. I got more game-winning goals than you did all year in 1 week. So no, I had a pretty solid week here, and unfortunately for Daltrey, he essentially needs to win the last 4 weeks in a row to make the playoffs, and he actually has a decent chance at winning three in a row. But that last one where he plays, I think it's Nick, is what's going to be challenging for him.
Yeah, well, he made the decision. He's going to sell, but who knows? Because all these teams sold so far this year, they're still in the playoff hunt. So, he could sell and still somehow make it in, right? So,
Yeah.
big loss for him. Big win for you, though.
Mhm.
You're sitting just outside the playoffs right now, right? So, well, you
Yeah,
talk.
I've been tied for a playoff spot the last 2 weeks, but I'm still outside of the playoffs. So obviously, tiebreakers aren't really my thing. So I gotta just keep pounding away at the wins here.
Dre and Patches tie at 6. This was unexpected. What happened here?
Yeah, well, yeah, we all know that Patch is a good team. He's had a bit of bad luck this year, so he's very competitive. So I'm not surprised he's able to pull out a tie against Nick. But obviously, when you got a record like Nick, it's always talking about Dre. It's a surprise to see they got a tie, but yeah, Patches managed to pull a tie late on Sunday by tying these shots on goals and coming away with a very respectful point.
That big point for Patches to kind of stick around the playoff race. Um, it's just like you said, it's just always surprising when the top team doesn't get the max points, right? Like, there's a little stumble, but he's still like he's clinched, still in first. No issue for Nick to give up that 1 point, handout point to Patches. Say, here you go, buddy. Good week.
Yeah, sometimes Knicks just got to help other Knicks out, and this is what we got here.
That's it. Some Nick and Nick love. Wild Husky hockey. Oh man, he barely lost to Dan. 7-6. So that should be a drink here. Pull out the victory. Those at one point it looked like Braden could have won. What happened here?
Um, and again, and we did see Dan finally address this issue, and goaltending.
Maybe that
Braden.
was it. I almost lost to Braden. I
Yeah,
need to pull the trigger.
yeah, exactly. I don't get Chesterkin, a goalie we didn't think we would see leave Neil's arms anytime soon, but it's been strange, and there may be some strange deals coming up. Yeah, so Braden took four goalie categories here, and he managed to get player category, two player categories, made it interesting. Tied for shorthanded points, was just behind in a couple other categories, but Dan did enough to put it away, and was close enough to scare Dan into getting a goalie.
Yeah, I think that's what he needed. It's something we talk about all the time. That's Dan's biggest hole. He addressed that weakness. Good for him. But he pulled out a win against Braden. He shouldn't lose that week. He's a contender. Braden is not. So no one has any business losing to Braden. Yes, that's a shot at you, Travis. But yeah, good win for Dan. Mentally
Absolutely.
Bedarded gets a big win here, keeps his hopes alive, jumps into seventh after defeating Derek. So what happened here?
I mean, obviously, Derek's sold. He's got nothing much up front in terms of players. Derek only got 53 shots on goals. That's like that's a low.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I've seen lower than that in a week. I don't know. Be interesting to find out. But yeah, I mean, Braden probably could have won this week against Derek. Derek's numbers are so pitiful. So
They
no
did play
surprise here.
again.
Yeah, they played this week, I think.
I think it's this week.
So we'll see. Uh, you know, uh, Kyle he had an okay week, but when you're playing somebody who's putting up like shit numbers, you're gonna look like an absolute hero, and that's kind of what happened here. And Kyle jumps up into seventh place here. There's a four-way tie for seventh, and Kyle has jumped to the front of that four-way tie. So obviously he has tiebreakers over three other teams, which is a nice place to be in for sure.
Especially right now, while it's super tight, right? Like, I wonder how many you guys are going to play each other. You know,
I do know the answer to that question. So between the four of us, I play Kyle, and then Mark plays Nick. So we both have one match against each other each. I play Kyle next week, and then Mark and Nick play the last week.
Oh, that could be huge.
It could be absolutely huge.
I like that.
Yeah.
Suspense for the standings and the season. Speaking of Mark, took down Domo last week 9-5. I think that really hurts Domo's playoff chances. Yeah, big win for Mark though, jumping into eighth. What happened here?
Yeah. Pretty poor goaltending week for Domo, and Mark put up some pretty solid player numbers, and that was enough to push him to victory here. And it looks like, if you're in Domo's position, you probably don't have a chance at a playoff spot now. You need to win the next 4 weeks straight, and that's a tough order.
Yeah. I think anyone that's not tied for playoff spot right now is pretty much out. Because you have
Yeah.
to jump not only catch up to the two people who are holding those spots, we have to jump to two that are tied with them, right?
Yeah, and you have to have the tiebreakers too.
Yeah. So I think
So
I think anyone who's currently not tied for that is pretty much done, barring some like crazy results over the next few weeks.
that's it. I didn't see who Domo's playing over the next 4 weeks. Maybe he's got like a super easy schedule. I don't know. But the schedule does matter.
He
You
still
know,
needs the other teams to falter though, right? So
well, that's it. And the other teams, like they do have some tough matchups. Three of those four teams have Corey. Actually, Corey has a tough schedule. You know, Corey has a really tough schedule with some very hungry teams to get into the playoffs. Um, so, you know, I feel like Corey only needs to win one of his next 4 weeks to clinch the playoffs, but he has a hell of a four weeks. I think he's got me, Mark, either Patches or Kyle, and then he has Neil.
ooh,
So Corey's got it
all
pretty
middle
tough.
teams there in that playoff hunt.
Yeah, well, Corey's kind of like the gatekeeper to the playoffs right now.
He beat
Like
me. You can get in. Like,
exactly, right?
let's look at the standings here. So let's see here. At the top, we got Dre, sitting there at 28 points, already clinched. I'm at 26 points in second place, not clinched yet. So I imagine 1 point should do it.
Yeah, those four teams tied for seventh, they would have to win all four games to tie you, and even then, some of their games are against each other. So you're essentially clinched already. It's just
It's not
it's not
mathematically
official.
impossible.
It's
Brady,
mathematically impossible for you to not be in the playoffs in all actuality. It's impossible.
Braden's Biatch with 24 points in third. You got Dan and Corey tied with 22 points in fourth and fifth. Neil, 21 points there right behind them in sixth. Then you got this four-way mess here, all 18 points. You got Plums, Mark, yourself, and Patches. Two of you guys are going to make it, and two of you are going to be heartbroken. Unless there's some really bad luck and one of the other guys fall out. But the likely scenario is that only two of the four of you are making it, right? So
That's my money. Like I'm pretty sure Neil's going to make it. Um, I'm not going to count Corey in because I know what his schedule's like. But really, Corey just needs to win one of his next four games. He should win at least one of those four.
yeah,
But he still has a tough schedule. And so these four teams are the teams to watch over the next 4 weeks. I think to see who makes it and who doesn't.
yeah. I think the other teams are pretty much out. All these teams at 16.
Yeah,
Three of them, Daltrey, and Sean.
yeah.
Um, that's a good season though. I like to see how close those standings are, right? Then you got Derek here at the getting lower end here. Or I skipped Casey, sorry, at 12 points in 14th. So he dropped out of it a little while ago. Derek, 10 points. So you got Wild Husky Hockey. I think he's pretty much guaranteed last place now, no?
No, not yet.
Nick, after if he loses this week, then for
If
sure.
he loses this week, and this is a big week from two, right? Because if he beats Derek,
Oh yeah. Yeah, if Derek gets points, then he's done, no matter what.
yeah, that's it, right? Because he can still technically get 8 points. So you go up to 11. If Derek wins this week, then
That's
we'll have a
right.
new Caucasaurus champ.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, not new, but
What's old is new again.
he'll return home. He's missed it. All right. We do have some trades to talk about here. Um, let's see here. The first one got the ball rolling last week. Corey and Domo hooking up here. Ned, a 17th and an 18th going to Corey. Vanacek, a 14th and a 15th going to Domo. What do you think of this move?
Let's see here. I'm trying to. Is
Corey
this
has the
the
Pittsburgh
Is
duo
this the?
now.
Sorry, which trade is this again? Oh,
Uh,
it's not
Ned
Ned and Van.
for Vanacek.
Oh, okay. So Domo got Vanacek.
Yeah.
Is he
And
planning on?
Corey paired up the Pittsburgh goalies.
Huh. I don't know. What do you think of this trade?
I like what Corey did because Vanacek's not really a great goalie. Struggling this year. He's even injured. And he picked up the duo for Pittsburgh. And it only costs about a 14th, 15th, so 2 3 round upgrades that are late picks.
Mm,
Domo got what he needed, which was more ammo to make some moves. I like the
yeah.
move for both their strategies.
Yeah, no, you know what? Like that is a good move. I wasn't sure why Corey was picking up Ned, but I forgot he's got Yari, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense to me now.
Yeah, Pittsburgh has been solid defensively, right? So he's gonna get some decent starts out of both of them. Now we have a goalie swap here. It looks like Domo receives Allen and a 7th, and you receive the Lion and an 18th. What do you think of this trade?
Probably a bit of overpayment on my part, but with Freddie Anderson coming back into the crease, I needed a little more. I needed somebody who's playing games, and Leon is playing games right now, and that came cheap enough to keep me getting goaltending games. So, especially since I had a bit of a dead spot on my roster with losing Bobrovsky. So yeah, I'm getting those starts. I'm getting decent starts. It's the Detroit goalie.
You're playing
You
well.
know, yeah, they're playing well. And that should probably do me to the end of the fantasy season anyway.
I honestly, I like this move for you because I think he's been playing really well when he gets the chance to play. But it's turned from a three goalie situation to a two goalie situation lately, right? Huso hasn't
Yeah,
really been in the talks. I think he's been injured on and off, like, but he's been shit in the bed. So it's really been
I,
Reimer and Lyon that's been playing. I like the move for you.
yeah. I was actually offered Huso after I made this move, but what they wanted in return for Huso was
Ridiculous.
just ridiculous. Yeah, like for a guy who's probably going to be out for the rest of the fantasy season, and you want my top grinder guy for a goalie who's not going to play for me for the rest of the fantasy season, probably. Like, no.
Probably under the impression though too that you were more into the sell mode, right? Based on your previous.
Yeah, yeah.
So he's
Still
probably
though,
thinking I could dump this guy who I'm not gonna be able to use, grab a guy. But
yeah, I'm just not like giving free candy away at the store, like you got, and I told that like, yeah, I'm in sell mode, but I'm not in like I'm selling everything I have for like a one pick upgrade. Uh,
yeah,
like I'd rather keep it than like give you a free team.
you still want to be competitive. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Like honestly, it's anything that's not at least a 10th rounder or below. I don't care. Like, okay, you offer me a 15th for an 18th for whatever. It doesn't a 15th doesn't mean anything. That's waiver wire. You know,
yeah, you're like, I don't care about that right now. Like,
no,
those are gonna be my ad drop guys in the draft. Like,
they are like especially like I'd say from like 14th to 18th, those guys get ad dropped within the first month of playing.
yeah. Or
Unless
or
you,
you're picking guys that you're taking a risk on, like that you're like, I'm comfortable with doing that. Like,
yeah,
you need
yeah,
those picks too.
you do. They're the like who cares of the trade, of the draft.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. So I like the move for you though. Uh I like Lyon. Great good ad for you. Allen was nothing. He's going back on the waiver wire probably if he's not already there.
I think he got dropped.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I thought. Vanacek on the move again. Domo actually making a surprising pickup here, picking up Fleury and a 16th for Vanacek and a 14th. So not a huge price to pay to add a veteran of Fleury's caliber to his lineup here. What do you think of this trade?
Great trade for Domo. He brings in some goaltending starts that he needs with a great veteran. And I guess Paulie's not keeping Marc Andre Fleury, obviously. So he's getting a bit of a round upgrade here. Probably the most he'll get from Marc Andre Fleury, in all honesty. So definitely a win for Domo. It's not a loss for Sean, but this is definitely a win for Domo.
Yeah, I agree with that. Fleury's a good goalie for him to pick up. Vanacek is injured. Probably, who knows if he'll even come back this season? Who knows what the severity of it is? Sean could afford that. He's not in. He's not trying to be in. He'll take the upgrade for a guy he isn't planning on keeping anyway. So good on him.
Yeah.
The goalie paradise get an Ian Cole in a 10th with Team Rocket exchange for McCabe and an 11th. Tell me
Yeah.
about this
So
trade.
so this week was close, and hits were a bit of a question for me. So I looked up. I'm like, well, who are the biggest hitters in the last 30 days in the league who are playing on Sunday? And McCabe's name came up as one of the top players. So I'm like, okay, let's. He's on a team that's not going anywhere. Let's make an offer. Uh, you know, I'm going to get one of the biggest hitters in the league. who's going to help me this week and maybe help me with the hits category going forward. And he does a few other things. So, a 1 round upgrade to get one of the top hitters in the league. I was happy with that.
Yeah, I like McCabe.
Yeah,
Good pickup.
nothing special, but he's got a role in the team, right?
I've added and dropped him a few times. Like I know what he brings.
Yeah.
The goalie paradise active again, getting Schmaltz in an 11th for Slavkovsky and a 13th here. Neil picking up Slav. What do you think of
Yeah,
this?
I think it's a great pickup for Neil if he plans on keeping Slavkovsky. Uh, if that's his plan, he's starting to light it up in Montreal and could be a good, solid player going forward, depending what his strategy is.
He
But
grinds too. He grinds.
yeah, yeah. So depending on his strategy is, and even if it's not to keep him, that's still a good pickup for this year.
Yeah. I love the petitioning that Casey kept doing. Almost every day there was messages, Slav's heating up. Like just nonstop sales pitch. I love it. A good deal for both though. I like that pickup for Neil for a playoff run. Um Schmaltz puts up points, but doesn't put up any grind, where Slav will do it all. So I think that's a better player from to go in with. Let's see here. Domo and Neil. 1 for 1. We don't see these deals too often. One for
No,
one, no pick. Farabee going to Domo and Kuzmenko going to Neil. What do you think of this?
um, this is interesting. I've had both these guys in my lineup this year. I traded Farabee at the when I sold like all my pieces to Neil. Neil, in my opinion, overpaid for Farabee from me, and it kind of seems like Farabee stopped producing. So it seems like I traded him at the right time. um, yeah, they're about the same caliber players. This is a pretty even trade. I'm not sure what the intent was with this trade, um, but yeah, it's pretty even.
Yeah. It's a wash for me. I hope Kuzmenko does well in Calgary. So uh, it could be a win for him should he really start clicking in Calgary, right? So
Yeah.
Domo hooking up with Travis here. Jack Eye on the move for essentially a 1 round upgrade. Clark going to Domo, and Domo's already dropped. He's on free agency now, Clark. So this was just to get that 1 round upgrade for Jack Eye. What do you think of this?
These are all Sunday moves, I think. Like somebody looking to get games on Sunday.
I don't know if Montreal played Sunday because they don't typically play Sunday, but
No, but for Captain Crunch, he took
oh,
Clark for
maybe. But these are all
yeah.
guys that he was putting on the market though to try to
Oh,
move. They mentioned these
okay.
guys are available.
Yeah. I mean, like it's all waiver wire stuff to me.
I like Jack.
Uh, but like I know for a fact these guys played on Sunday, and it looks to me like he was looking for guys playing on Sunday to try and squeak out a win.
That makes sense. That fits his MO.
Yeah, because LA played Sunday, Colorado played Sunday.
Oh yeah, because Farabee was moved. Okay, no, that's what it is. It wasn't done in the same order. Farabee was the second part of that trade. That was a Sunday move.
Yeah,
All right, well, this one's definitely not a Sunday move. Uh, well, maybe it was, but Roman Yossi's a pretty big deal to move.
no, he's definitely worth talking about.
Roman Yossi and 2 18s going to Dan for Cousins, Dano, an 11th and a 14th. What do you think of this?
Um, yeah, that's a pretty big trade. Obviously, Yossi is a top defenseman in the league. Puts up a lot of power play points. Puts up a lot of shots. He's putting up points. Worth his salt, and I think I'm not too sure what Domo's intent here by dealing Yossi. If he's bringing in one of these like Cousins as a potential keeper player, I'm not too sure.
I think he just wanted draft picks to
Yeah,
move.
because to me, like Yossi is worth more than 11th and a 14th. But I mean, Cousins and Dano have some value. Um,
I actually
so,
like the player he picks up in the next trade better as a keeper option, but
yeah, well, it depends what his like intent is here. But Uh, to me, getting rid of Yossi for an 11th and 14th doesn't make sense unless you're keeping one of those players. I'm not too sure what his intent is here, but if it's not to get a keeper player, this is kind of like he didn't get enough for Yossi as far as I'm concerned.
I think he just really wanted some toys to play with until the deadline. Like, oh, I want some picks so I can maybe make something happen.
Mm.
Right. But the next deal I enjoy. I actually like it for both of them. Dre gets Ehlers a 7th and a 16th. Domo gets Suzuki and 215s. I like Suzuki's having a really good year. I think that's a good player to have as a possible keeper. What do you think of this deal?
Yeah, I'm very much the same mindset. Like if he's going after a keeper type player for next year, Suzuki, a good young player to take into your lineup. I like the trade.
With Daltrey Jr. announcing that he's in sell mode, if I was Domo, I might take a chance to try and get Caulfield off of him, and pair him up.
Mm.
You know, that's me if I was him. But I
Yeah,
like the deal for both. This looks like was this a Sunday deal or was it? No, this was just a trade. I think he wanted to dump a player off. So Dan sends Sega in a 12th to Domo for an 11th, a 1 round upgrade. Nothing
yeah.
there.
Derek did. Yeah. So
Oh,
Derek was
Derek.
selling anything for a one pick
Yeah, sorry, it
upgrade.
was Derek. That's right. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, and so he dropped off second for 11th.
Not even a player. Just give me a round. Like,
Yeah, yeah, that's it.
this one was a pretty big deal. Dan finally pulled the trigger on a goalie. Igor, a 14th and a 16th for Kaprizov, a 6 and a 9 going to Neil. What do you think of this?
This is a great deal for both players here. Neil is getting a great player, Kaprizov. Um, you know, yeah, he's losing Shesterkin. Shesterkin hasn't been playing well as of late. Does that mean Shesterkin's done in the NHL? It does not. Shesterkin still has plenty of career left. He's having a bit of a rough year. Um, and I think Neil's just kind of going in a bit of a different direction. His goaltending is not as good as it was last year. This is a good deal for Dan. He gets a top class goalie on a top team like the Rangers to really boost up his goaltending, and which should make Dan more of a threat going into the playoffs. Because prior to this, you're pretty assured that you're going to beat Dan in goaltending statistics on any given week. So this makes Dan a lot more competitive in that market. He gives up Kaprizov, but Dan has a lot of depth in his players.
Yeah, I really like this move for Dan because we've been harping on him all season about unreliable goaltending. And yeah, Shesterkin's not having the greatest season, but he is still young and he's going to be good for a long time. I think this it makes him a big threat this year with some stability in net, but more long term. It's just you're getting a keeper upgrade in the goaltending area, right? Kaprizov is a big price to pay, and I get why you'd be hesitant because he's a really great player, right? But that's what it takes to get a goalie. Sometimes you have to give up a lot, and
Yeah.
I think Neil got a good return. But I think Shesterkin is a great pickup for Dan because it helps him where he needs it most.
Yeah, I agree. I'm interested to see how this is going to affect these two teams going forward and see how this plays out into their strategy.
Yeah, yeah. To see, who knows, right? Because you've seen a lot right now. A lot of teams are trying different strategies this year because they're in like a rut and like I need to switch things up, and sometimes that's what it takes. You need to shake it up, and you just here we go. I'm out of the funk. I found something that works for me, a winning formula for a team, right?
Yeah. And you know what? Like, this was great about the format that we do have. Like, there's like disadvantages to it, but what I do like about the format that we do, um, is
See
that
what
makes it exciting because there's always all sorts of wheeling and dealing and people trying to upgrade their keepers, and it keeps the water flowing in the league, and people are trying all these little deals to kind of like upgrade things and make these tweaks here, and keeping things interesting, and like we're really seeing the like especially this year the fruits of everybody's labors, where we have like a lot of elite teams this year, and we're going to the playoffs and there's no clear front runner. Like, yeah, we have like an A and a B and a C, but it's really almost anybody's game going into the playoffs this year. It's going to come down to matchups, and a bit of luck, I think.
the league is at that stage now, though, right? We've been around for so long. We've been doing this for a while. People are picking up like tips from other GMs and whatnot, right? Everyone's always adapting to what's actually going on. I love it. It's so competitive right now. Like this is the best that the league's ever been. Even though we have a team or two at the bottom that I'd like to see improve here, but overall, we've never been this competitive all the way through at least the top eight. And we're looking
Yeah.
at top 14-ish are pretty much competitive, top 13.
Yeah, and I guess okay that our league has like an Arizona Coyotes and an Ottawa Senators type team,
Someone's going to take on those bad contracts.
right?
All right. Well, we'll have to pause here because, again, I'm cheap. It's free. We have a minute left. So let's stop this. We'll come back for part two.